Rizwan parked his car in front of the imposing iron gates, Boohet Bangla. Even the name sent shivers down his spine. He checked his watch. Almost sunset. The real estate agent had specifically asked him to visit at this time. Best time to experience the mansion's true character, he had said with a wink. The iron gates creaked open as if in slow motion. Rizwan swallowed his fear and drove through. Overgrown shrubs lined the driveway, clawing at his car like skeletal fingers. The mansion loomed larger with each passing second. It was an imposing structure, a Gothic monstrosity with crumbling stone walls and turrets that scratched at the darkening sky. Stepping out of the car, Rizwan felt a cold wind whip around him. It carried the scent of decay and something else he couldn't quite place, a cloying sweetness that was both alluring and repulsive. The setting sun cast long, grotesque shadows across the overgrown lawn, making the mansion appear even more sinister. He walked towards the heavy oak door, each step echoing in the stillness. His heart pounded in his chest. He reached for the rusted door handle. It was ice cold beneath his touch. As he pushed the door open, he felt an overwhelming sense of dread. He was crossing a threshold into the unknown, and something told him there would be no turning back. The interior of the mansion was shrouded in darkness and dust. Cobwebs hung from every corner, and the air was thick with the smell of dampness and decay. Rizwan fumbled for his flashlight and aimed it into the gloom. The beam illuminated a grand hallway, lined with portraits of stern-faced individuals who seemed to stare down at him disapprovingly. The silence was heavy, oppressive. It felt as if the mansion itself were holding its breath, watching his every move. Suddenly, a noise from upstairs shattered the silence. It was a soft sound, a whisper that seemed to slither down the grand staircase towards him. Rizwan froze, his blood turning to ice. He strained to listen, his heart pounding in his ears. The whisper came again, a sibilant murmur that sent chills down his spine. He couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable. It was a voice filled with sorrow and warning. A cold fear gripped him. He was not alone in this mansion. Someone or something was watching him. Taking a deep breath, Rizwan forced himself to move. He had to be brave. This was just an old house, full of drafts and creaking floorboards. He told himself there was a logical explanation for the whisper, but deep down, a primal fear urged him to turn and run. He walked slowly down the hallway, his flashlight beam dancing across the shadows. He passed by dusty furniture draped in white sheets, their shapes distorted in the dim light. Each room he passed seemed colder than the last, the air heavy with an oppressive, unseen presence. The portraits on the walls seemed to follow him with their eyes. Their gazes were unnerving, filled with a knowing malice. One portrait in particular caught his attention. It was of a beautiful woman in a flowing white gown. Her eyes, a piercing blue, seemed to bore into his soul. As he stared at the portrait, Rizwan felt a strange sensation. It was as if he were being watched, scrutinized by an unseen observer. He could feel a presence behind him, cold and ethereal. He spun around, his flashlight beam slashing through the darkness, but there was nothing there, only the echo of his own fear. Rizwan continued his exploration, his unease growing with each passing moment. He reached the end of the hallway and came to a heavy wooden door. It was ornately carved with images of writhing serpents and grotesque faces. He tried the handle, but it was locked. He peered through the keyhole, but all he could see was blackness. He pressed his ear against the door, listening intently. At first he heard nothing but silence. Then a faint scratching sound reached his ears, as if something were clawing at the other side. He pulled away from the door, his heart racing. He had to get out of this house. As he turned to leave, he noticed something strange. At the end of the hallway, a child's rocking chair was moving slowly back and forth. It creaked rhythmically in the silence, a chilling counterpoint to the frantic beating of his own heart. There was no one there, no breeze to set it in motion. It was as if an unseen hand were pushing it, keeping time with some macabre lullaby. Terror welled up inside Rizwan, threatening to consume him. He had to escape this nightmare